There's no reason that you can't make a few extra $100 to another potential $1,000 in profit every month just by listing the same exact listings you already have up on other sites to these ones. Because it doesn't take much extra effort on your part. You can diversify the platforms that you're listing on, so you're not just specifically attached to one or two. And you can outsource all of this to VAs super easily, which is exactly what I do. So the first few sites that we're gonna talk about all integrate with List Perfectly, which is a software that I've used and covered before in previous videos that cross-posts listings from one site to another, which basically means wherever all your listings are currently, whether you have hundreds or thousands up on Facebook Marketplace or eBay or Poshmark or Mercari or wherever, List Perfectly with a few clicks of a button will cross-post all those listings obviously over to these sites. That's gonna save you a lot of time, it's a no-brainer, and it makes listing there so much easier because you don't have to start from ground zero, right? You don't have to start finding new listings that are obviously selling or doing well. You can use all the same listings, all the same data on the listings that you already have, all the same pictures, the titles, the descriptions, etc., and then just morph them over to a new platform. So the first site that I want to cover is Depop. Now Depop's probably my favorite out of all of these. Depop is a great up and coming platform. The sales velocity on Depop, in my opinion, seems to be the highest of all these other up and coming promising platforms that we're going to talk about. The only issue with Depop specifically is they seem to give me some trouble every once in a while with just listing stock photos. So on sites like Poshmark, for example, or sites like Facebook Marketplace, you never run into the issue where the marketplace or the website has an issue with you just listing stock photos, right? And that makes it so much easier and so much faster to list to the site with, because you can just copy listings from Amazon or copy listings from eBay or any number of stock photo websites that use stock photos. And it's so much faster because you don't actually have to find another picture that's like a review image or find, or take the picture yourself, right? Well, Depop specifically has been giving me trouble with just listing stock photos. So one of the workarounds is the same exact workaround that I've talked about with Mercari before, is you take a review image and instead of posting it, where I used to say with Mercari when you're drop shipping, you post the review image at the end because Mercari's terms of service, you can't have all stock images. Well, Depop's terms of service, they don't want you to use stock images. So I've been getting around that very, very easily by cross-posting, using all the images, but then taking the review image, a good review image, and moving that into the beginning and using that as your photo on Depop specifically, right? That way the buyer can still see all the good images, but Depop, when they're scanning and they're actually using their bots to scan, is seeing the review image first and thinking that you took it, and none of my listings have been flagged since I started doing that, okay? So Depop, you can pretty much list anything. It's mainly clothes, obviously. It's a lot like Poshmark, but the sales velocity there is very, very good. You can also list a bunch of other stuff like women's clutches, men's wallets, like bridal veils, like literally anything that you could find on Amazon, you can pretty much list on Depop, or obviously eBay. You can pretty much list on Depop as long as it has like some affiliation to clothing or clothing accessories, a lot like Poshmark, okay? So Depop's a phenomenal place to list. And again, like I said, List Perfectly will take your Poshmark listings or take your Mercari listings or take your Facebook Marketplace listings, and with a few clicks of a button, just copy them over to Depop. And then obviously you have to figure out the sizes, but that takes you maybe 20 seconds. So it's going to be a very, very fast process. And obviously you can train your VA to do that very, very quickly and cross-post a bunch of listings super fast, which is exactly what I did, okay? The same exact thing factors in with site number 2, which also is on List Perfectly as well, and that is Tradesy. So Tradesy is another one that primarily focuses on clothes, and it's primarily focused on women's clothes. So again, you can do the same exact thing. You can cross-post using List Perfectly to Tradesy. I've only made 3 sales currently to date with Tradesy, but Tradesy is the one that out of all of these that we're going to talk about here that I've listed the least to. I've probably only listed like realistic, I don't know what the exact number is, but let's say like 100. So I've only listed like 100 listings there. So 3 out of 100, like 3 sales out of 100 listings isn't that bad. If you factor in like Facebook Marketplace for example, right? Or even eBay or something like that, or even Amazon, like I don't have a 3% success rate. I have to list more than 100 listings to get 3 sales on Facebook Marketplace, even though like the profit is ridiculously high. So it is promising in the sense that like I've made 3 sales there, so I know it's not just like a fluky 1 sale, and I haven't really put much effort into it. And also I've talked to other people that list on there as well, whether they're typically resellers, so they're not drop shipping, but they say that Tradesy has high sales velocity compared to like Poshmark or sites like that. So that is promising, and I'm very, very excited to continue to test it it. Again, all these are up and coming. They will not make you a millionaire, but there's no reason that you can't make a few $100 to $1,000 listing on all these places. Not specifically, well, maybe specifically, I haven't scaled it up to that point yet, but altogether 100% possible, I promise you that. So the third one here that we're going to cover is, again, integrated with List Perfectly. That's a common trend here because it makes it so much easier to cross-post those listings from site to site. Because if I had to go in, or if I had to train my VA to just copy the title manually and then copy the pictures manually, like that would take so much longer per listing, which isn't that big of a deal. But when you're paying somebody 40 hours a week, or you're paying somebody full time to do that, like the amount of listings that they're going to be able to get done, even if it's you and you're not paying somebody, the amount of listings that you're going to be able to get done using a cross-posting software like List Perfectly is exponentially higher because it takes everything so much faster, a lot like ZDrop does, rather than if you had to do it manually, okay? So because the cross-posting is so easy using List Perfectly, that makes these sites worth it to list on, okay? So the third one is Grailed. Grailed is just like Tradesy and just like Depop in the sense that it's primarily focused around clothing, although Grailed specifically is men's clothing, and for whatever reason, men's clothing seems to do very, very well on it. Again, I've only listed probably a little bit more than Tradesy, so probably let's say like 150 to about 200 listings. But I have made a few sales on Grailed. I don't know what it is. It's probably like 5 or 6. So again, that's a pretty solid success rate. I haven't scaled it up fully yet, but it is somewhat promising. And the margins on these, because like people that are searching on Depop, or people that are searching on Tradesy, or people that are searching on Grailed, for example, like these people aren't necessarily the same buyers that are on eBay. They're not necessarily the same buyers that are going to be on Facebook Marketplace. And so they're not necessarily going to be seeing all the other products. And the margins that I've been seeing, I forget my margins on Depop. I'd have to actually check into that because I've sold the most on Depop, so I don't know what the average is. But on Tradesy, it's got to be like at least $10 every sale profit-wise. And the margin's got to be like 40 to... probably like 40%, I'd have to check that. And same thing with Grailed. But like if I'm making $10 every single sale on that, like, and I'm paying my VA like, however much it is an hour, the ROI there is like, the scalability and the ROI there is very, very promising, and I'm very excited about that, okay? And finally, the last one is one that I've covered before, but one that, for whatever reason, nobody really does, and myself included, because you primarily are only able to use your phone, and that's OfferUp, okay? So one of the issues with OfferUp, well, there's two main issues with OfferUp, and I've covered this in other videos as well, is the first issue is that you have to use the OfferUp label, so you can't actually facilitate the drop shipping, the tracking number to them. You have to use the OfferUp label. There's plenty of workarounds to that, so you can either obviously do dropship arbitrage, where you only list like Amazon Prime or Walmart Plus products, and then when they come to you in a day or two, you ship them out. So it's a little bit extra work in that sense on OfferUp, but the key there is you're solidifying the profit because you're only ordering the product and receiving it and then shipping it back out, or leaving it in your mailbox for the mailman to pick up or something like that after you're guaranteed the sale. So if you're on a small scale and you're looking to make a couple $100 extra a month, it's so easy to do that, and that's something I do on Poshmark every single month. It's the same business model on OfferUp, you're just moving it over to a different platform. The second snag is the one that I touched on briefly, which is you can only list from a phone. They won't let you list from a computer. I still don't understand why, but you can only list from a phone. One of the workarounds with that is using a mobile emulator, and that makes it so much easier. So with the mobile emulator and with the dropship arbitrage business model, or what you can do is you can just do it like normal dropshipping. So you send them the item and then you mail them like a thank you using the OfferUp label, and you just time it right. And that also works very, very well on OfferUp. But for whatever reason, my Depop's probably my best. Tradesy and Grailed, I haven't scaled up too much. I only have like 100 to 200 listings on those, but I'm very excited about those platforms and kind of testing them out further. They're promising. With OfferUp, I've made like dozens of sales on OfferUp, so I know it's not fluky. I know that there's the ability to sell there. The only issue is it's annoying to list there because you have to use an emulator or have to do it from your phone. But because of that, the competition is practically not there at all because nobody else is willing to do that. So if you can pay a VA to scale that, or you can use a mobile emulator in your free time, you can definitely make a few $100 on OfferUp. I promise you that. I've made dozens of sales there, so I know that there's opportunity there. I've just never scaled it up that much. I probably over the past like week or two have put a few hundred listings up on OfferUp, and like I said, I've probably made a few dozen sales, not all within the past week or two, but the fact that there's sales velocity there and the sales are going off, and even when you scale, like as soon as you post an item, it goes like directly to the top of the feed on the homepage. Like that proves to me that there's not that much competition or other listings there. So anybody searching OfferUp, you're getting visibility on all of these items, and obviously you can ship on OfferUp, so it's a no-brainer, right? Now, listing on these sites specifically is only smart if you can leverage the right software to do it, right? So if you're interested in List Perfectly, it's linked down in the description with a discount to your first month.